this computer. Okay. Share screen. All right. It does not appear, so to reiterate, it does not appear that 2168 has a common final scheduled. Although, as the course coordinator, I assure you it will be the same final exam as everyone else. Okay. Even though we are a 4-hour course, our meeting times are for the 3-hour course because we are 3 lecture hours and 1 lab hour, right? So we want to look over here in the 3 lecture hour. And as you can see, there's our class time. Our class time won't be over in here. So that means our exam is Thursday, 12/9 from 8 to 10 a.m., which means I have to get up even earlier than normal. Okay, that sucks as far as the time, but honestly, that's good. In the past, our exams on the final exam have had issues. Part of the reason I feel that is because you have your 2 study days, and then you'd have the entire block of exams, and then our exam would come on the second to last day of finals. And I feel that our students really suffered for that because they were already exhausted from all their other exams. And so they weren't able to put as much effort in studying for this one. Or that the study sessions that I had done prior to then kind of wore off, you know? So getting it out of the way, literally first thing, will probably be good for you, even though the timing of it will be terrible. Again, you have rights as students. What is the maximum number of exams you are supposed to take during a day? That is right, 2. You are allowed to take 2 exams a day. If you are scheduled for 3 exams per day, one of the professors needs to move out of the way. Okay, so if you need to take an exam, you know, I can easily proctor you at some other time. It just needs to be proctored. Another thing is that, like, you know, if you have some other reason, such as like, I need to get home because home is a different country with that, or a different state. This probably won't come up because this will be your first final exam. But I've moved for students who needed like, who, you know, it was the difference between $1,000 whether they left today or another day, you know. So I understand. If you need to take the exam earlier, that's fine, you know. Yeah, but your final exam should be taken during this day. And once again, if you are sick, don't come to class, right? Just don't come to class. Let me know you are sick, and we will knock out that final exam as soon as you are better. Okay. Another important thing about that final exam, again, as I mentioned, but I'll mention again because, right, it's going to be electronic. So bring your laptop if you have it. If you don't have a laptop, that's okay. I will make sure that there's paper exams available. Okay. But you know, doing it on paper, one of the reasons I like having the final exam on, especially on that, is that you don't get the final exam back because of logistics if it was on paper, which means that you can't check my math to make sure I added up your grade correctly. And yes, I have had issues where I'm just counting up grades, and you know, if on paper, and you know, there's been a 10-point swing in the against the student because I did not add correctly, you know. So then we correct it later because I tell you to double check my math. So just be aware of that. I will double check, of course, any kind of, if you have issues with your exam afterwards, I'll be happy to go over it with you. But in general, the exam scores have gone up over the years as I've removed what I consider to be extremely unfair and too time-consuming questions from it. And so yeah, there have been, but the exam is fairly comprehensive. It does go, we do go over linked list, hash tables, and trees all in the exam in the coding section, and but it's roughly split into half theory, half coding. Okay, your exam tomorrow. I just added a question to the exam. A very last question is not actually a question. It is a file upload form. Okay, which just simply, if you have your source code and you want to make sure it gets submitted so that so that's easier to read or something, or you're just worried that the text box didn't grab it or whatever, right? You want to submit your source code, there's a place to do that. If you need pictures taken, you can submit those there, It's that last question will be a place for you to upload your form, essentially. Okay. Finally, as a reminder for all for those last 3 assignments, you can do them in any language you so choose. Python, C, C++, Java. I'm not really picky. The last problem, the last homework, you're going to want to look at, I'll mention this again, but the key to solving that is topological sorting. It is possible to solve it by hand. I do want you to code it, but you can check your answers by hand for that last one. And I'll kind of show you the way it works as we get closer to doing that. So do we have any questions about the exam coming up tomorrow? Really? No questions? Okay. Yes.
You said the heat questions would be like they were on the practice exam where they're more theory other than coding.
Yes.
Okay.
That is it is along the lines of what we had on the practice exam, where please show. So it'll be something along the lines of please show me, select the appropriate heap afterwards, or give me the last 4, add these items to heap. What is the please type out whether the number's in the bottom layer. Those kind of, so something that can be auto graded. Another thing I should mention before you go into panic mode, when you get it tomorrow, when you are finished with your exam, you will be able to check, you'll probably check your grade over the weekend and see you've got a 30 or 40 on it. Don't panic. That's just the auto grader. That's all the auto grader was able to grade. So there's only so many points the auto grader can grade, right? You'll see that there's a bunch of, if you I'll get around to grading these questions this weekend. Okay. The actual coding questions. So don't panic if you see your grades at 30 or 40. And then and if your grades are 30 or 40 after I say everything's graded, then you should panic. Probably because something's gone wrong. Most students do well if they study. That's the caveat. You got to study for this exam, but if you study, you're going to do well. Okay. Again, the restrictions are the same. You can basically use Canvas and any kind of notes you have in the cloud, right? The main restriction to just going online, so you can't just like say, oh, what is this question? And find the answer to it and, slap it in your code. That's the reason why I restrict certain online stuff, because there's only so many good questions. There's really only so many good questions that are good test questions for an exam, and it's pretty easy to find the answers to these. And as you'll see, there's a story behind some of the questions I asked. So any other questions? Yes. Yes. Yeah, you can totally use earbuds. Yeah, earbuds are fine. Yes.
Are we going to take the final exam in this?
I have no idea. That is an excellent question, and I will know as soon, and I will let you know as soon as possible. But the answer is most likely yes. Again, I'll print out enough paper for everybody who wants one, but I don't think you'll need it necessarily. Okay. So I'll print out enough paper for everyone, even though it will probably be best for you to do it on your laptop. The restrictions will still apply for the final exam, which is that you can use your computer, essentially just no looking up the answers, and I'll be walking around checking your web screens to make sure you don't, so to make sure you adhere to that rule. All right. Other questions? The last thing I just want to mention is for the sorting algorithm question. When you test your sorting, your sorting algorithms, you want to do a good sample size. So like you want to test your runtime on on something of size, maybe 256, then something of 512, then something of 1024, then something of 2048. Even better is if you do multiple runs of each of random arrays of each of those sizes, and then give me an average for those data points. It's just, I'm trying to give you good practice on simulating and collecting data here, which is a useful skill if you're in computer science. Okay, and the Excel, and if you're not in computer science, then organizing data in Excel is still a useful skill. All right, any questions from the bullpen, the Zoom session? All right, and as a reminder, the end is in sight. You can take a deep breath. Next week and the week after, you've got and then you've got the Thanksgiving break. I'll go into more details of this, but I'll be part of the TU Gaming Guild's Extra Life fundraiser that we do basically the Friday of the Thanksgiving break. So that not Black Friday, but the Friday before. So that'll be 24 hours and I'll be there for parts of it. So, all right. And if you're interested, I know that we will be playing Jackbox games, which allow you to join in as an audience participant and kind of play along. So, and if you haven't done Jackbox games yet, you should do so. It's fun. All right. So that's what I got for today.